What we have learned is that there is not one particular path that leads to terrorism. Rather, there are many, often complicated paths that lead to terrorism. While there have been established push factors, conditions conducive to the spread of terrorism, such as poverty, joblessness, prolonged unresolved conflict, social injustice, a growing youth bulge, we know, for instance, that poverty in itself is not an automatic ticket to radicalization. We are also concerned with pull factors that are often personal and frequently rest on factors such as unfulfilled desire of self-actualization, wanting to belong, individual grievances, or an identity deficit, one that confuses and creates a situation of conflict in identities based on religion, tribe, or region. It is this identity conflict that fuels the narrative of the Jama'atu Ahlul Sunnah Lid-Da'awati wal Jihad and has proven so attractive to some of our youth. The NAC test seeks to prevent attacks by preventing our people from becoming terrorists in the first place. 18 months ago, I directed the Behavioral Analysis and Strategic Communication Unit in my office to develop a program that seeks to implement the Prevent work strand of our national counterterrorism strategy. They visited Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, Singapore, Algeria, and Australia, and to talk with officials from the United Kingdom, the United States, and the European Union, academics and members of civil society groups, both at home and abroad. Simultaneously, I directed the Economic Intelligence Unit in my office to explore the efficacy of economic interventions that will contribute to the Prevent program. The team has investigated what other nations facing terrorism have done successfully in the areas of job creation, poverty alleviation, and economic development. Based on these, we identified the need for an economic turnaround initiative in the aftermath of the state of emergency in Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe states. These activities have given birth to our soft approach to countering terrorism. Our focus has been to first build up the capacity of government institutions and relevant security and paramilitary agencies on global best practices and human rights compliant approaches of responding to, preventing, and dealing with individuals, groups involved with extremism and radicalization that leads to terrorism. Second, counter extremist narratives through words and deeds while promoting national values. Third, engaging and partnering with states, local governments, civil society, and communities to counter radicalization, build community engagement tools and capabilities while entrenching the culture of resilience. Fourth, work with federal and state agencies involved in economic development, job creation, and poverty alleviation to explore their roles in effecting a robust Prevent program. The soft approach to countering terrorism, which has resulted in the development of a Countering Violent Extremism CVE program that is both vertical, involving 3 tiers of government, federal, state, and local, and horizontal, involving civil society, academics, traditional, religious, and community leaders. It consists of 3 streams with different layers of partners, ministries, departments, and agencies, the MDAs, including the civil society. The program utilizes existing structures within and outside government to deliver targeted programs and activities that further the overall goal of stemming the tide of radicalization and through families, communities, faith-based organizations, build resilience to violent extremism. The first stream is the de-radicalization of convicted terrorists, suspects awaiting trial, and those who might be released through court orders or such other government decision arising from the ongoing engagement and dialogue with repentant suspects. The de-radicalization program is prison-based, and the Ministry of Interior, along with the prison service, will drive the program. The initiative will require substantial capacity building of prison staff in areas such as psychology, sports and arts therapy, faith-based instructors, and vocational training experts that would engage beneficiaries. The objective is to engage violent extremists, convicts, or suspects in theological, ideological, physical, and entrepreneurial value change that leads to a change in their behavior. Families, community leaders, and NGOs will be given access to participate in the process in a fair and transparent manner to speed up easy assimilation of convicts and suspects back to society. I have refurbished 2 prisons for this purpose, and we are currently working with international development partners to provide appropriate structures for this program within prisons. I shall equally be providing training for 60 prison psychologists and training for prison guards in handling of terror suspects. Our continued cooperation with the prison service is being explored to identify gaps that require urgent intervention. We intend to exit this intervention within 2 years, when the prison service would have developed its administrative, infrastructural, and functional capability to run a full-fledged de-radicalization program. A while ago, through the Defense Headquarters, suspects held in detention were categorized and a number were recommended for release. I have since tasked my team to develop a community-based program for them to be released into that will have all the above-listed components of a de-radicalization program, but additionally focus on community reintegration, skills, and employment acquisition. The second stream. Here we have moved from a whole of government to a whole of society approach in our counterterrorism thinking. We believe that we can win the war against terror by mobilizing our family, cultural, religious, and national values. Through fear and violence, extremist groups are bent on changing the way we see and relate with each other. And the only way to defeat this is to remain united and confront the threat as one nation under God. The counter-radicalization stream seeks to build community engagement and resilience through building trust, creating awareness, and resilience. Government is partnering with faith-based organizations, community-based organizations, NGOs, and other stakeholders to deliver counter-radicalization programs at community levels. It is our expectation that this process will be shaped and delivered by civil society actors, especially those who are already intervening in conflict resolution, peace building, and interfaith advocacy. The third stream. We're building our capacity to communicate our national values better and institutionalizing this capability through strategic communication for the military and law enforcement and public diplomacy for our civilian institutions. This has become necessary because at the heart of terrorism is a deadly communication plan that furthers the aims of the terrorists. Unfortunately, terrorist groups have over time been clearer in communicating what they stand for than government has. Plans have been concluded to institutionalize strategic communication in training curriculum of the Nigerian Defense Academy. Through this training, our armed forces will be able to analyze terrorist messaging, conduct psychological operations, evolve civil-military relations, and be equipped in media relations through a better appreciation of the requirements of our democracy.